The University College of the University of Maine system, together with the Maine Department of Labor, Bureau of Labor Standards, has formed a partnership to make public information more accessible to Maine's employers.
Well, thank you, Ray. I'm really happy to be here myself. It's a beautiful day, and it's nice to be here. And it's good to see all you people here, too. I think we'll begin with the purpose section of this program, and I'll introduce what this program is going to be about. Before we get into the scope, mechanics, and details of record keeping, I'd like to take a moment or two to talk about the objectives of this training and the overall purpose of reporting and record keeping requirements. First, our objectives are fairly straightforward for this training program. At the end of this program, participants will be able to involve employees in reporting and recording work-related injuries and illnesses, recognize OSHA recordable injuries and illnesses, and correctly fill out the forms required by OSHA, OSHA 300, 301, and 300A. In conducting these training sessions, we try to provide you with the most accurate and up-to-date information on OSHA record-keeping rules and interpretation. The purpose of this presentation is to provide you with the best available information that we have on the current OSHA record-keeping rules and interpretations. That in turn provides you with the tools and knowledge needed to make informed decisions about record keeping. We're not employees of OSHA here. We work for the Maine Department of Labor, and part of our job is to collect and analyze data that originate in your OSHA 300 logs. So to do our job better, we naturally want to help you as much as we can with the accuracy and consistency of your record-keeping data. Now, before I move on, I'd like to have you pay particular attention to the second bullet here on this slide. OSHA rules are especially formal interpretations by OSHA may not always match your personal views. However, in practice, even formal OSHA interpretations are considered part of the standard and must be met in order to achieve full compliance. Now, the purpose of the OSHA record-keeping requirement that we are teaching today is to require employees to record and report work-related injuries and illnesses. While there are many good reasons to require record-keeping and reporting of illnesses and injuries, they are not necessarily to establish whether or not the employer or employee is at fault, or that the OSHA rule was violated, or that an employee is eligible for workers' compensation or other benefits. In fact, it is important to remember that OSHA record keeping and the workers' comp, for example, are two completely different systems. While some of the informational requirements are the same, there will be injury and illness cases that are OSHA recordable but not workers' comp reportable, and vice versa. And there will be cases where certain types of information are more relevant for one system than the other. To master OSHA record keeping, one has to at least temporarily forget workers' comp and other such systems and address them separately. Yes, Kate?
So, does that mean that for each injury we should prepare and keep our first report for workers' comp and a separate 301 form for
No,
OSHA?
in fact, as Steve is going to point out later in the training, a completed first report form is acceptable as a substitute for the OSHA 301 form, the injury and illness incident report. In fact, that's one of the few times that the two programs are actually in harmony. Injury and illness record keeping is valuable on a number of levels. Hopefully, as we go forward, you will recognize that consistent and accurate records benefit everybody, employers, safety managers, and employees too. And those benefits go beyond just your own company. You can benefit directly from the record keeping and reporting done elsewhere in your industry, as others in the industry may benefit from the information your good record keeping and reporting may provide down the road. Yes.
Are there more work-related deaths in Maine than in the rest of the country as a whole?
Don't you mean Is there a higher rate of fatal injuries in Maine than in the nation as a whole?
Yes.
Yeah, right, Mike. That's a good question, Kate, and you're right, Mike. It needs to be put into context. Actually, it is a very good question. In fact, the fatality incident rate in Maine was 2.51 cases in 2009 per 1,000 employees and 3.0 in 2010 per 1,000. For the U.S. as a whole, it was 3.25 in 2009 and 3.27 in 2010. That means that Maine is a little bit better off than the nation as a whole, but it's really nothing to brag about. For example, last week someone asked me why they had to report when they hadn't had any injuries and illnesses in that reporting year. I explained to her how her information still was very valuable. It's important for health and safety regulators to know where injuries may be occurring as well as where they are not, why they are occurring and why they are not, so that they can target enforcement and compliance programs wisely. Likewise, they can gather and share general aggregate information from the industry so that everyone can be aware of possible safety problems in their own workplaces and then correct them ahead of time. But perhaps the most important reason why OSHA record keeping is important is because injuries and illnesses do occur. They occur in Maine and they occur elsewhere in the country. And while Maine may not have more or less injuries here than other parts of the country, they still do occur at quite significant levels.